here to reclaim our African identity, to be able to reconnect us to our African selves. And so that's why it's significant for me to be here on the continent right now.
We had an opportunity through the A2MEND organization to be here, to participate, to learn more about our culture, to be enriched, and to bring back information and experiences that will support our efforts at our colleges.
This summit is all about us. This summit is looking to explore the theme, reclaiming African sovereignty through the right education.
It's been an extraordinary experience where I feel like I've been completely elevated in terms of my knowledge, my understanding, and most especially my connection back to the continent of Africa, and specifically to Ghana.
The All-African Diaspora Education Summit is an amazing summit. It's bringing together brothers and sisters throughout the diaspora. And what we learn as a part of this is that we have so much in common in terms of the power that we have when we come together collectively. But we also notice that there are some commonalities in terms of the forces of oppression that we're experiencing. And so now we can connect the dots and put together our expertise in different areas so that we can all rise together wherever we happen to be as African people.
So you want to see how to be your authentic self? Watch!
Beauty is irrelevant.
So I am going to reiterate that phrase that he used, and he said something very simple but yet very profound. He said, "We are here. We are here. We are here." At some point, you're going to get out of yourself. At some point, you're going to hear what it is I'm saying, not only in your mind and in your intellect. At some point, it is going to rest in your spirit. So let me say it again. We are here. Maybe I need to get a little closer to you, because at some point, somebody gonna be bold enough to get on their feet and say, "We are here. We are here on this land, on this soil where 400 plus years in the making, we are here."
So we had remarks by dignitaries that really centered us back in our African tradition, culture, norms, and values. The spirit and the energy was high. People felt comfortable, and most importantly, they felt as if they were coming back home.
For far too long, there's been propaganda. In the past, we used to go to war with spears and swords and what have you. That is the story out there. But now, it's a war of the mind. We need to prepare our minds to move forward in the 21st century. We don't need bows and spears. We need our mind to be at the right place. And this is what this conference seeks to do, to reorient us. We are here to Georgia to see, and this is the very first time that a group of people, not just locals, a group of people like children of Africa coming from all over, to sit down and discuss the need for African-centered education. This is powerful.
When we said it's time to go back home, people showed up. They made a way out of no way. They fought impossible odds to make sure that they were here at this moment. So it was important for us to establish our place here. It was also significant to let the Africans know on the continent that we are back and that we're here to reclaim what it is that we have lost. So we had to let everyone know. In fact, we had to let the world know that we are here.
When our ancestors were taken from this continent and spread throughout the world,
our spiritual essence, our spiritual identity was stolen from us, and it was replaced with an identity that does not serve who we are as people of African ancestry. So we're not only here to reclaim our cultural and historical identity, but to also restore our spiritual identity as African people.
This is amazing. And if I could share that with all of the other people and I could feel that energy of all of us having that experience, it was beautiful, which is the other thing that makes this conference so special and so beautiful.
Healing is a must for our people. You see us acting out our trauma everywhere, every day. And we need to figure out a way to have peace. Really, it's not to come to grips. It's to have peace about our past, have peace about our future, and have peace with each other. Now, in terms of African-centered education, to me, it means putting Africa in the center. It means referencing, as a brother said this morning, is this good for Black people? Is this good for African people? Is this good for African-American people, Afro-Caribbean people? Is it good for the people on the African continent? When you start looking at public policy, what's the lens through which you look at public policy? And African-centered education says you will look at it through a lens of Africa. And by Africa, I mean African people in the diaspora around the globe.
Because so much of the history we are taught in America starts with slavery. And so much of our work is to change that narrative because we know our history existed thousands of years before enslavement. So it's mixed emotions because part of it is I don't want to re-emphasize that that's the only story about our history, but at the same time it's an important period of time where we were separated from who we were. At least it was attempted for us to be separated from who we are.
We must know our origin and our culture to be able to understand where we've come from, where we are now, and where we're going. And this experience, this particular summit has done exactly that. It has been an amazing experience. You know, what I've learned, what my colleagues have learned, what others have learned will allow us to be more empowered, more informed, and better prepared to address issues, especially those as it pertains to the African Americans in the States.
When you step out on the bridge, even though you know it's secure, and even though you know thousands of people have gone before you, it's still that type of risk because you're that high in the air and you're only suspended by ropes and boards. And what we have to do is be diligent about challenging our fear, facing our fear, to get across those bridges that will get us to the African-centered education that is needed.
So if we don't step up and tell our stories, other people will write us out of our own history. We got work to do. And this is war. I want you to understand this. This is war. This is no time to play games. This is no time to be afraid. We're fighting for the lives of future generations. And if we fail, there will be no future.
I reflect on my own life and how grateful I am for the opportunities I've had because of the people who suffered and made it across the Atlantic, made it through slavery, made it through the civil rights movement, made it through Jim Crow, made it through all these huge movements in our life so that we can stand here. Because if you go back in time in history, our fathers, our grandfathers, they didn't have this opportunity. So for anyone out there who has the ability, whether you have the financial, whatever you can pull together, you have the opportunity to come back to see Africa, any part of Africa, any part of the homeland. I encourage you to do it because it's life-changing.
So to go to the dungeon is just a reminder, right, of the harm and infliction that we have gone through, but it's also a reminder of our power and our resilience and our spirit.
I came here for a spiritual experience. I came here for renewal, but I think about how powerful our spirit is, the spirit of our people, and how blessed we are to be us, to be part of the diaspora.
It's so important that we're here in Ghana. It's important that we are talking about the value of African-centered education on the continent of Africa, because as Sheikh Anta Diop said, if Africa is going to be saved, it's going to have to be assisted by Africans in the diaspora. And what better place to come to continue that process than in Ghana, the home of African liberation.
Doc, we're here.
Hey, we're here, Doc. We're
yes,
here.
Sir. Yes, sir. Where we at?
We at Cape Coast, Ghana.
Yes, sir.
East Africa, West Africa.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Yes.
And we said you can take the man out of Africa, but you can't take Africa out of the man.
Man,
so,
you better say that again. And we centralizing that.
And that's why we're here.
This is the first time that I have seen and have enjoyed all the homies.
As a queen mother, once you come home, you are all our children, you are all our sisters, you are our aunties and our mothers.
I think people came here knowing that it's going to be something different, but they left here assured that this is going to be a different experience. That they come in here knowing that they could be their full, authentic Black African self. People gonna show up as they are, the best of who they are, ready to contribute, ready to engage, and most importantly, ready to work on the behalf of African people.
What can you do tomorrow? Resources, books, films, and I'm just going to hit some highlights. Address prison in the pipeline, mental health, framework for Afrofuturism, media, theoretical literary, economic wealth-seed, CTE assessments. Think about positions and roles.
Actually imagining work of healing, right? How do we engage in healing a sick mindset?
As an educator, as an author, and as a lecturer, I found that people of every race, of every culture, of every ethnicity have been miseducated. And so in order for us to restore our rightful place in this world, we have to begin by educating ourselves. And once we begin educating ourselves, then we can begin to teach and educate other people who have also been miseducated, not only about African history, but also about world history.
There's an African proverb that says, if something is lost, we look for it first at home. If something is lost, we look for it first at home, Ashe? And one of the challenges that we face is that we have not begun looking for what we lost at home. We're looking everywhere but home. We're looking in all of the wrong places for everything that we need. This was deeply problematic for me as a graduate student, and even as an undergraduate student, because when I came into consciousness, I became a problem for my professors. Because I started asking questions that they were ill-prepared to answer because they had only been schooled in a Eurocentric tradition.
When you look at the way that education usual is presented in a very stifling way. And so when we talk about African-centered education, we're really talking about a whole paradigm. We're talking about placing Africa in the center, because Africa is in the center. And these are things that people don't think about, talk about, or deal with. So we just take knowledge base as knowledge base without looking at the Africa in the base.
I want to give a big shout out to the brothers of A2MEND for really, having the vision to put this together and to allow others to witness what we've witnessed.
So I congratulate all of those scholars that have bought into this idea, who use their own resources to come back to Mother Africa, the University of Cape Coast, who will put these resources at the disposal of them to make sure that this happens. All of those who have participated in this deserve to be honored, but the work continues and we must go on.
Despite everything we've been through, despite all the opposition, despite literally attempts to take our lives, to kill us, to destroy us, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, we still managed. We were resilient to be able to be in our right minds enough to be able to answer the call. Because I believe the vibrations and the frequency of our voice transverse the ocean, that folks are still in America heard that we are here, and because we are here, I think they know that they could come as well. So it was important to establish that from the very beginning.
It's a historical inaugural trip engaging in healing work and professional development with over 300 professionals from the California Community College system and throughout the United States of America here in Cape Coast, Ghana. And it's been a privilege, it's been an honor, it's been a spectacular, wonderful spiritual journey.